What if the most painful moment in human history was also the most meaningful? What if the one who had the power to stop everything chose instead to endure it? And what if the place of execution became the place where hope was rewritten for all humanity? The road to Golgotha is not silent, but it is heavy. Every step Jesus takes carries more than physical exhaustion. It carries rejection, misunderstanding, and the weight of a decision made by many voices but resting on one innocent life. The city of Jerusalem is still awake. The crowd is restless. The atmosphere is charged with emotion, confusion, and the lingering tension of a verdict that feels more like surrender than justice. Roman soldiers lead the procession with practiced indifference, accustomed to death as part of order. Yet this case feels different, even to them, though they may not fully understand why. Jesus carries the cross, not as a symbol of victory in the way the world understands victory, but as the instrument of suffering that has now become unavoidable. His strength is not absent, but it is tested. At times he stumbles. The weight is real. The body is human. And still he continues forward. Along the way, a man from Cyrene is pulled from the crowd. Simon is compelled to carry the cross behind him. A moment that appears accidental is in truth part of a larger unfolding. A shared burden, even if temporary, becomes part of the journey. People watch. Some mourn quietly, others mock. Many simply observe from a distance, unsure how to process what they are witnessing. There is no clear category for this moment in their understanding. It is not simply execution. It feels like something deeper, something that disturbs the usual patterns of how justice and punishment are supposed to look. Jesus speaks at times along the way, not with complaint, but with meaning. There is a presence in his words that shifts attention away from suffering and towards something greater. He does not curse the moment. He does not resist it in anger. Instead, he carries it with awareness. At one point, he turns to the women who mourn for him and speaks words that are not about himself, but about what is coming for the city. Even in personal suffering, his focus does not collapse inward. It extends outward. Then they arrive. Golgotha, the place of the skull. A location that carries a name already shaped by death, now becoming the stage for one of the most significant moments in human history. The soldiers act with efficiency. There is no hesitation in their process. Nails, wood, ropes, preparation. Everything follows procedure. To them, this is routine. Another execution. Another sentence carried out under Roman authority. But nothing about this moment is truly routine. Jesus is placed upon the cross. The nails are driven. The sound is sharp, final, and irreversible. Pain enters the scene in its most human form, not abstract, not distant, but immediate and real. Yet even here, something unexpected happens. Words are spoken. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Forgiveness in the middle of suffering is not something the world expects. It does not fit the logic of retaliation or justice as humans often define it. But here it is present. The soldiers divide his garments. They cast lots. Beneath the cross, life continues in its indifferent rhythm. People observe. Some mock. Others remain silent. The contrast between suffering and normalcy is striking. Above him, a sign is placed. This is the King of the Jews. It is meant as mockery, but it carries a truth far deeper than those who wrote it intended. Two others are crucified beside him. Two criminals, each responding differently to the moment. One joins in the ridicule. The other observes something different. At first glance, both see the same suffering, but their understanding diverges. One of them speaks. His voice is weak, but honest. He acknowledges wrongdoing. He recognizes innocence in Jesus. And then he makes a request, not for escape, not for reversal of judgment, but for remembrance. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. It is a simple request, spoken in the final moments of life. Yet it carries deep recognition. Even in suffering, he sees something others refuse to see. Jesus responds, "Today you will be with me in paradise." In the middle of crucifixion, there is assurance, not delay, not uncertainty, but immediate promise. A statement that redefines what is happening not just physically, but spiritually. The scene continues. Darkness begins to cover the land. It is not only a physical phenomenon, but also a symbolic shift. The atmosphere changes. Time feels heavier. The sound of mockery does not carry the same weight it once did. There is a separation being felt, as if creation itself is responding to what is unfolding. Jesus speaks again. His words are few now, but each carries significance. There is no complaint directed at those around him. There is no attempt to escape the moment. Instead, there is completion of purpose. And then comes the final breath. The moment of physical death arrives, but it is not portrayed as defeat. Something about it feels different. Even those watching begin to sense that what they are witnessing is not ordinary execution. The temple curtain is torn. A symbolic separation is broken. What was once divided is now exposed. The centurion, a Roman soldier accustomed to death, reacts differently than expected. He does not respond with mockery or indifference. Instead, he recognizes something beyond human explanation. Surely this was a righteous man. Even authority trained in execution begins to question what has just taken place. The crowd disperses. Some are shaken, others remain confused. The noise fades, but the impact does not disappear. Those who follow Jesus from a distance observe everything. They carry sorrow, but also uncertainty. What has just happened does not fit into their expectations of how things were supposed to end, because endings are supposed to confirm defeat or victory clearly. But this moment does neither in the way they understand it. Instead, it introduces something new, a kind of victory that does not look like conquest, a kind of strength that does not rely on survival, a kind of love that does not withdraw when suffering begins. The cross remains, but its meaning is no longer limited to execution. It becomes something else entirely, a turning point in understanding sacrifice, forgiveness, and redemption. The story does not end in that moment, even though physical life does. What begins there continues far beyond what anyone present could fully comprehend, because what looks like the end is actually the beginning of something that will reshape how hope itself is understood. In this moment, the world witnesses suffering, but beyond it, something greater is unfolding that cannot be contained by the visible scene. Love is not defeated. Purpose is not lost. And silence is not absence, it is fulfillment. And so Golgotha becomes more than a place of death. It becomes a witness to a love that does not retreat, even when fully exposed to human cruelty. A love that remains steady even when misunderstood. A love that continues even when rejected. And a love that, even in its most painful expression, does not lose its identity. What happened on that cross is not only history, it is invitation. An invitation to see strength differently, to understand sacrifice more deeply, and to recognize that even in the darkest moment, meaning is not lost, it is revealed. And that revelation continues far beyond the hill where it began. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, please take a moment to like, follow the channel, and share this video with others who may need to reflect on it.